Hello, my name is Nola and welcome to my channel, Intuitive Nola. This is your first time, welcome. If you're back today, thank you for coming back, and to my new subscribers and everyone who has taken the time to listen in. Thank you so much and welcome to my new subscribers. I'm getting not too much feedback in the comments, but I have had a few, and for those, I want to say thank you. I would also like to ask you to consider speaking to me and this community in the comments, if you don't mind. Now, today is Monday, March the 17th, and I have a pretty intense and heavy message to deliver from my counsel and my guides. And so I ask you to just stay with me. This is not an attempt to fearmonger, but rather to bring some enlightenment so that you can know what to expect in the weeks and the months ahead. And in addition, always keep in mind that when you are getting a psychic reading, a spiritual reading, tarot cards, whatever it is, that we the people in this particular situation, it's on the legal system and what's happening in America, and also what is happening in and across Europe. Always keep in mind that we the people can force governments to change their minds about things. So nothing is ever carved in stone. Everything is subject to change because we have got free will and we have choice. But we the people can move the governments and those that are in power to move in a different way. So without further ado, in America, and I have to refer to my notes. I have a lot of notes today. This is pretty in-depth. The political news out of America is absolute chaos because Trump's actions show a clear attempt to consolidate power, where he's rolling back established norms and he's using historical laws in unprecedented ways. I think he's using laws from as far back as 1798. Particularly in his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act and other executive overreach suggests that if he gains more control, his administration may pull or may push for extended presidential powers, which we all know is not a good thing. And hereby the Supreme Court is key. Even though there are lots of legal battles brewing over executive authority and voting rights and federal oversight and so on, if the court leans right in his favor, it could reshape American governance for decades. So I was shown civil unrest and deepening divisions because, the US was already so deeply divided and so deeply polarized. But as Trump escalates rhetoric about deportations and federal overreach and retribution, this could ignite widespread protests and counter-protests and even violent clashes. And there would be even, what you should watch for is even bigger trigger events and major court rulings, continued immigration crackdowns, or even a political assassination attempt could send the country into unpredictable turmoil. Excuse me. Now, while I'm speaking about the civil unrest and so on, I must tell you that I currently reside in the Netherlands. And unfortunately, I must tell my fellow Americans that we are not getting the news coverage that we need and deserve. Unfortunately, it appears to me that a lot of the major news networks have bowed or have fallen under this administration. So I've been watching a few other news channels on YouTube, such as Midas Touch, Luke Beasley, Tabitha Speaks Politics. I love her. And also Adam Mockler. And then on the weather reports, I'm going to deviate just for a minute on the weather reports, because there's been such terrible weather across the United States. I have found that max velocity weather is one that I watch, and this guy is on the point, and I've watched him for a long time, for more than a year. I think he does better than some of the weather reports on the local news channels. And then there is Ryan Hall Y'all. He's another young kid that does weather reports, and he covers Europe, so I watch him as well, in case you were interested. Now, over the weekend here in Europe, I must just tell you that there were massive protests in countries where there were like 7 million people. They were out in force protesting against their governments. And I don't know whether you have seen this in the United States. People are really pushing back. And I think that we are not seeing even what is happening in the United States, because these events anger the current administration and they don't want them covered. But the world needs to know. Please post to YouTube when you are having your demonstrations and your marches and so on. And also, militia and extremist groups may become more emboldened, taking Trump's words as a call to action. Now, we saw this before, and we know what that outcome was. And this is especially concerning if state governors and governments, the local state governments, resist federal authority, and this may lead to major standoffs. And then the third thing is about the economic volatility, and also America could see a major exodus of corporations, because the markets are so nervous about Trump's policies. If his administration cracks down or intensifies even more, and these trade policies become more extreme, businesses could start pulling out of the US or shifting their operations abroad. And the dollar might see fluctuations. It's more than likely going to see fluctuations, especially if foreign confidence in the US stability weakens. So those are some of the things, for you to be aware of, to pay attention, to take care of your money, and to plan a little strategically for the next few months. And so watch signs for the devaluation of the dollar, as the wealthy corporations are going to take flight. And so there will be inflation and supply chain disruptions also, I think, or I believe. And if it continues on this trade war, or limits international partnerships, this is just going to isolate the United States very, very much, because what I'm seeing in Europe is already the shifting alliances. And I don't think that this administration imagined for one second how this acting out would pull the European nations together. I see it. I hear it on the news here, which is Euro News, and also Al Jazeera. And because Europe is already uneasy about everything that Trump is saying and the way that he's acting and the things that he's doing and the threats that he's making, it's just unprecedented. We are living in unprecedented times. And Europe is also talking about rearming themselves, looking at nuclear weapons, and so on. And if anyone had told me this even 6 or 8 months ago, I would not have believed it. I would never have believed that my country would come to this. We're on the brink of a dictatorship. And I saw the meeting between the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, and Donald Trump, and I wondered why they were not focusing the cameras on Mark. And the reason for this, I think they didn't want to show his facial expression. I did see a picture and he seemed very calm. When Trump was saying that he wanted Mark to help him to get Greenland and talking all kinds of nonsense, just an embarrassment. Mark Rutte has been to see Trump twice, if I am correct, and please correct me. Once at Mar-a-Lago prior to his inauguration, and then last week. And Trump is as crazy as a fox. He is a gangster businessman, as far as I'm concerned. He is really trying to play NATO, and I think that Mark Rutte was there to try to suss him out, because no one knows what he's going to do, if he's going to take the United States out of NATO. But I'm going to tell you this, and my guides, I can actually hear one of them right now, that you can expect a power vacuum where Russia and China will expand their influence. And so that will make foreign policy shift dramatically, with less confidence in the US as a stable partner. And there will be potential military escalations. And we already saw that. And I think that nothing good can come from the bombing in Yemen over the weekend. I think that is just going to ignite things in the around the world and in that region. And my guides tell me, and I sense and I feel that this is going to escalate so much, but there are other leaders around the world that don't want to get pulled into this. And I think that Trump is actually, and everything that I'm saying, okay, is allegedly acting on orders from Israel. These are the deals that he made, and it's time for him to deliver. Remember, all of these readings are for entertainment purposes only. These are psychic readings, and I've pulled some cards on a couple of things, but we'll get to that. So I was saying that, and that Russia is going to test the limits of U.S. disengagement by moving aggressively in Ukraine or Eastern Europe if something is not done to stop all of this madness. So what does this all mean, okay? What does it all mean? What this means that over the next 6 months or so, and also beginning immediately, America is headed into extreme volatility. And I know we've already experienced this. We have seen this, where everything is in absolute and complete flux. Legal, political, economic, and the social structures that we have. The best case scenario, the courts and Congress place checks on executive overreach, and resistant movements successfully counterbalance these authoritarian tendencies. Now, as I said in the beginning, it's up to we the people. Nothing is carved in stone. Now, the worst case scenario, if nothing is done, and I was just so disgusted and upset by the Democrats and how they literally capitulated and bowed down to the, Republicans. Perhaps there's something that I don't know, but it just seemed so bizarre. Are they doing this for their own financial gain, to line their own pockets, to feather their own nests, whatever you want to call it? Are they doing this, some of them doing this just to secure themselves? And again, sorry, I digressed, but we were talking about the worst case scenario. We will see a rapid decline into authoritarian rule, social upheaval, and economic instability. And I pray that this is all wrong. And again, I do not say this to fearmonger, but to prepare you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and also physically. You must prepare yourself. The next 6 months are critical, and watch for the smaller shifts that reveal a larger trajectory of what he intends to do. And so I did pull 3 cards from the Kyle Gray deck. I love his cards. They're so beautiful. And the first card that I got was the Traveler. You see that? The Traveler. And the second card that I got was Lady. Look how beautiful these cards are, right? And the third one was Mountains. So I pulled this for the collective to see what all of this means and to see if we can get any confirmation. So the first card, the Traveler, and the energy surrounding America's future. This card represents movement, transition, and major shifts. America is in a period of great instability, this we know, and change, where everything feels in motion, politically, socially, and economically. Then the Traveler reminds us that nothing is permanent and that the country is heading toward uncharted territory. My goodness, are we ever? And this card also suggests that many people may be forced to move. Whether that means immigration changes, people leaving the country, or personal shifts in alignment, whatever you choose to do personally, how you will align yourself with what is going on and what you will choose to do. So the key message is about embracing the journey. Things are changing rapidly and you must be adaptable. Now the second card, which is the Lady, beautiful lady, right, is what we need or you need to be aware of as the situation unfolds. The Lady is a card of abundance, nourishment, and feminine energy, if I remember correctly. Yes, she represents growth and creation, but also protection and wisdom. This suggests that in the midst of all of this chaos, there will still be opportunities for healing and for renewal and for community building. The Lady symbol of the divine feminine rising, which means that women and intuitive leaders and nurturers will play a major role in shaping what comes next for the United States and for the world. And this could also be a message for you personally. You are being called to stay grounded, to embody wisdom, and help to guide others. So the key message is, amidst turmoil, focus on creation, on your growth and divine wisdom, and protect what is sacred. And then the third card was Mountains. So mountains show how you can best prepare and navigate for this shift that is happening. The mountains symbolize challenges. They symbolize endurance and standing strong in the face of adversity. Spirit is telling you, telling me, telling us, this will not be an easy path, but we are strong enough to endure it. You are strong enough to endure it. Please do not despair, because mountains represent stability and long-term vision. Instead of reacting to every crisis, you're being guided to stand firm, to stand your ground, to stay grounded, and hold your space with wisdom. And this also suggests that those who stay resilient will be the ones who shape the future. So the key message here is stand your ground, trust your inner strength, trust your inner wisdom. You are protected and you will rise. So the overall interpretation, when I put all 3 cards together, America is in a period of major transition. You are being called to nurture wisdom and guide others. This will not be easy, but if we stay strong and trust ourselves, you trust yourself, you and I and we will endure and thrive. And that's the card of the mountains, right? And the big takeaways, this reading confirms that you are meant to play a role in bringing awareness and clarity to people during the shift. And we are not just witnessing history. We are going to help others to navigate it. So some other things that I got some hits on was about the weather. Man, the weather in the United States and even around the world. In Italy yesterday, we also had some major flooding and so on. It's disastrous around the world, from Africa, across Europe, and into the United States. So there are a couple of other things that I wanted to speak about. It is alleged that Elon Musk has really cooked the books regarding how much money he has and how many Teslas he has actually shown. And I think that Canada is going to bring it all to light. And Mark Rutte is really trying to suss Trump out, and no one knows quite what to make of Trump on an international level, but many know who some of the great players are that he is playing with, that are pulling his strings, literally. And then I asked about Mahmoud Khalil, the graduate student from Columbia University, who was arrested and is in custody by ICE and is being held by ICE, I think, in Louisiana. I've had some interest in this because I was also an activist as a student, and so the cards that I got with the clarifying card. The first card that I got when I did a shuffle from the Kipper deck, my Kipper deck was Great Fortune. Okay. The second one was Privileged Lady. The third one was Pathway. I will tell you what I got, and then I will tell you what the card was that when I asked for clarity, what I was told. So I have notes here. I'm so sorry. I'm fiddling around on my desk. Gosh, please bear with me. I made some notes at the last minute in my phone. Okay, so the good lady, the privileged lady from my deck, means that this could be a woman that helps him, whether it's his wife or an attorney or something. Someone is going to do something to help Mahmoud and try to get him free. And so that is the good fortune. Okay. I've made notes and I've mixed them up. I'm so sorry. He will not be released immediately is the pathway. It might be a little while before he is actually released, and because the legal system will hold him back. And then the pathway is going to be a little longer than we think, or it's going to take a little longer for him to work his way through the legal system. And then I saw when I pulled the clarification card, it was imprisonment. So I don't think by the time his wife has the baby that he will be free. And I pray that this is wrong. Remember, I said we've got free will, and as people, we can march and we can demonstrate that will sway the governments to act differently. I did see on the news very briefly on YouTube the Jewish community standing up for this young man in Trump Tower. They had a sit-in, and they were literally being carried out by the police. So and I didn't feel that he would be deported. What I felt is that he would be under surveillance. He would probably wear an ankle bracelet and be under house arrest. And finally, I wanted to tell you all about Belgrade yesterday. Oh my gosh. Those people really, really, really came out en masse. Really. And I wanted to give a shout out again to Tabitha Speaks Politics, Adam Mockler for news, Midas Touch, and I've forgotten the other young man's name. And then for the weather, Ryan Hall, y'all, and Max Velocity Weather. That guy is phenomenal. Oh, the other guy for the news is Luke Beasley. He's young and brilliant and funny, and I know that Midas Touch has on different guests that really speak to the people, unlike some of the major news casts. I never thought I'd live to see the day where America would have a blanket on the news. I grew up in South Africa, and I know how much the news was blacked out. And back then we had LM radio, Lorenzo Marx radio, and we could listen on the radio. I would as a very young girl, 7 and 8 years old. And then finally, I have an aunt that asks me a lot of questions. And Aunt Mona, this is for you. Was asked about martial law. Anything is possible. I believe that this goes through Trump's head or his mind quite a bit. And he's even asked about it. But if the Supreme Court does not do anything to stand their ground and they fold, America could be under martial law. And then I must remind my Black brothers and sisters, people of color in the United States, not to be used as bait, to go out there and they say that we will act up, and then you'll have the opportunity to declare martial law. Listen to Tabitha Speaks. She speaks a lot of truth, a lot of wisdom there. So if you found any value in this, would you consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and telling me your thoughts in the comment section, please. To my new subscribers, I'm a new channel. I'm up to 26 subscribers. That isn't a lot, but I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. If you subscribe and share, it helps my channel grow. It helps to get the word out about what God, the universe, Allah, Spirit wants us to know, how we can prepare ourselves, because we are living in perilous times, and it's so tumultuous. Every day there's a new story. We don't know which way to look. So until the next time, do take care. Remember that kindness is important. Everyone is dealing with something that we know nothing about. Please take care of yourself. Don't stay in the news. Take time to rest and recharge and eat properly. Stay grounded. Take your shoes off. Go outside. Hug a tree. Yes, you heard me correctly. I am a tree hugger, very much so. And go and sit like a bump on a log someplace in nature. It will be good for your soul, for your mind, and for your energy. Thank you for being here, and bye for now.